Black girl has something to say, and it is Vlogmas Day 12. And I am wrapped up in my little, what is this, Turkish blanket that I got from Sephora earlier this year. You know, when you a VIB, whatever member, I had some points and I got this little blanket. Yeah, Beauty Insider Sephora little blanket that I got. So it's a little chilly here. Like it's actually cold. Very unexpected. Very, very, very much not what I anticipated this morning. And I had some plans to run some errands, and I was like, let me come back home and change my clothes. But before I do that, let me just go ahead and get what I have to get done on my computer today, as well as let me indulge y'all in Vlogmas Day 12. So what I wanted to take the time to talk about, I always get compliments on my glasses. And what y'all may not know over here on Black Girl Say Something is I have been a business owner. We just hit 12 years. I've been a business owner since 2013, owning Top Notch Eyewear, which is a premium eyewear brand catered to faces like mine. Having a master's in health science and a doctorate in health science, I started my business essentially as consignment, where I was just selling from my own collection. I started being an optician. You technically start being an optician when you're in school. So in 2009, I started uh, gaining a number of glasses. And then by 2013, I'm like, oh, I have a lot of glasses. Let me get rid of some of them. And that became kind of the idea of Top Notch Eyewear. There were sunglasses, there were frames. Of course, I would take the lenses out and you would have just the frames. And these were like premium frames. They were the designer, the Italian designer frames. And some of them even custom frames that I started selling as consignment. And as people trusted my expertise with being that eyewear person, I would take requests, which I would place those special orders. I also had a knack for knowing what frames the celebrities are wearing. So people would send me pictures of celebrities and say, hey, can you identify this? Can you get access to this? And I could. And so it started like that. Then as I continued to grow in my customer base, people wanted to get that prescription filled with me. I mean, I had the expertise, right? So I guess today's Vlogmas is really just telling you about Top Notch Eyewear. If you are interested, there is a link in the description of this episode. You can visit topnotcheyes.com. I always say at Top Notch Eyewear, you will see the difference because the difference is seeing top notch. So just taking the time to tell y'all a little bit about my business, my brand. I've been a licensed optician in my state. I'm also dual nationally certified. So that means I can service people anywhere. I'm certified as an optician by the American Board of Opticianry and the National Contact Lens Examiner. So I can fill the prescription for both glasses and contacts. Ironically enough, this year started out very rough for me with my business. It's been one of the hardest years in my 12 years of being in business. I've been doing big sales where I'm selling things at 60% off, 70% off, just to really get rid of inventory so I can get new inventory. But things like tariffs have kind of really caused my business to take a hit. And instead of passing that along to the customers, I decided to not even be involved anymore. Um, and so I found myself not being able to fill the prescription even for glasses. We provide premium lenses. What that means is I cater to people who have high prescriptions because more often than not, people with higher prescriptions are at a loss when they go to the big box shops because the big box shops don't know how, or they have only specific labs that they work with. Because I am independent, I work with a number of labs, so I have variety in trying to find who I can get this person's prescription from. And oftentimes, I have to go to custom labs, and the lenses do take pretty long. With that being said, it's not a cheap cost, right? And I didn't want to put that extra cost of tariffs onto my patients, so I stopped filling prescriptions at the top of this year. Um, the reality became real to me when the last customer I had was like in November. I didn't do any sales last year in December, and like January, February, March. We're now in August, and I can count on one hand the number of customers that we've had for the year. And so that is like very scary for a business owner, especially when I went full time in 2017. I started business in 2013, went full time in 2017, and had been full time ever since in business because once your business can start paying the bills, of your house and the business, you know you've made it. Hello, hello. And so what I found was that was not going to work anymore. And in 2022, I was like, okay, it really was 2023. I got a job and I was still able to work my job and my business. And I became a professor. I graduated my doctorate in 2022. I have a doctorate in health science that concentrates in global health. And so I'm doing the research and I'm like, okay, a lot of independent businesses in the optical industry are kind of suffering. How can I still meet customer demands as well as make sure my business is profitable? Because the thing is, when you meet customer demands in a state where your business is struggling, then you're putting yourself in a position to not make money. And no one's in business to not make money. I even have social initiatives where I do give out free glasses, but that is based on how much volume and sales that we have. So that didn't necessarily work out this year. But all in all, I am wanting to use Vlogmas today to just try to tap into a new audience of people who are interested in premium frames from an independent like myself, my own eyewear line that caters to faces like mine. So wider bridges for a comfort fit on the nose, longer temples for a comfort fit behind the ear, and just stylish and overall giving you that designer feel and top notch eyewear. I always say our slogan is see the difference because the difference is seen top notch. So, any questions you have about my business, Top Notch Eyewear, I ask that you drop them in the comments. If you made it this far and you are participating in the Vlogmas, drop a Christmas tree in the comments as well. Don't forget, Black Girl Say Something is a podcast where we air episodes. We haven't aired an episode for the month of November or December. Um, things are changing in my life, and so is the podcast, and so is what I want to talk about. But I'm still a Black girl who has something to say. So that's why you are here. And if you're enjoying this, make sure you subscribe, follow us on TikTok, like us on Facebook, and you can listen to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And also, another favor that I ask of you is drop where you listen to podcasts because we're able to add the podcast to other platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. We're on a lot of platforms, Podvine, Pocket Cast, I think is another one that people have mentioned. So we're over there. But wherever you listen to podcasts, I would like to know so that we can add the podcast over there for your listening pleasure. Until next time, catch me on the next Vlogmas, and thank you for joining us.